Hello YouTube, this is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard, and today we are going to be talking about some continuing thoughts that I have about manifestation. Now, I don't know why my OBS program is having such a hard time. Is it? Okay, seems to be doing okay now. No! What the heck? Why is my computer having such a difficult time today? Anyway, I hope you guys can see me and hear me. I'm going to bring up some, sorry, I'm distracted because my computer is telling me that I am not showing up. In fact, my computer is just simply not responding to me. It's that simple. So maybe I should have listened to my instincts and just take the night off from everything. Anyway, I'm going to refresh that. Today we're going to, hopefully if you can hear me, we're going to be talking about manifestation. And a different way to manifest and a different attitude when it comes to manifesting the life that you want to have. So, you know, look, the truth of the matter is that if you were capable of a video, do it. Right? So, surrounding feeling limited when it manifests. All right, so it looks like we're back. I don't know, I just needed to reboot my my programs here. Now everything seems to be doing all right. Okay, maybe that's the message. We're going to have to reboot the way that we manifest things. So I like this term that I'm using here, which I'm calling the law of quantum manifestation. And what I'm sharing with you is coming directly from what I'm being taught and what I am seeking to learn myself. So remember all the things that we've been talking about recently, having to do with 3D versus 5D from a physics perspective. And, you know, of course, this is a result of me interacting with different dimensional beings. I've had to do some research to understand why things are so strange, what is going on here. And of course, being given a lot of instruction about how to create your world. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to first get in touch with the feelings that you may have about the challenges that you have, or the feelings that you have surrounding manifesting the life that you want. So if you have feelings like nothing ever works out for you, excuse me, nothing ever works out for you, people are this way, or you don't do that. Sorry. Any of the things in your mind that say this can't work, that doesn't work, the world is unfair, you know, and you can apply it to anything. You can apply it to relationships. You know, like the MGTOW boys who run around saying that the only thing that women want from men is they want money and you know, genetic material to create children. And you know, women, if they've had difficulties, men only want you for whatever superficial thing they might want. Whenever you have any of these kinds of beliefs and blocks in your head, I want you to become aware of those and the feelings that you have associated with the challenge about manifesting. Okay? So just get in touch with any of that. And I don't want you to figure it out. I don't want you to analyze it. I just want you to have those feelings. And when you think about, for instance, like let's say you're thinking about next month. Like, for example, for me, in about 2.5 months, I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to go back to Australia without any real plan. You know, I'm going to have my tourist visa and I've already got the first month of a place to stay. But other than that, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to try and rent a place, you know, because that takes a risk, or if I'm going to get Airbnbs. And so when I think about it, I immediately start thinking about money, and then I might have some feelings of insecurity of, oh, what am I going to do? I don't make enough. So I want you to have your own experience. Let's say when you think in the future about if you're, let's say you're trying to make a move. When you think about money, when you think about paying the bills, when you think about your business, I want you to allow yourself to feel whatever comes up, especially if doubts pop up. Okay? I want you to just feel those. And I want you to be honest about that. And the reason for that is because, like, when it comes to things like the law of attraction, I find that people, it's like a religion, you know? Like, if you go to church, if you want to be popular in church, you have to present yourself as somebody who's happy and believes in God and has lots of faith. And, you know, you never say anything negative. You never show any fear or any doubt, because that's not spiritual. We've got plenty of that going on in this world. Plenty of, you know, it's a great phrase, virtue signaling. You know, people virtue signal all the time. And what they're really doing is they're trying to tell everybody else, look at how great I am. Do you like me yet? And so this happens when you go to the law of attraction seminars, you know, and, you know, these things are set up pretty smart. They have they have inspirational music as you walk in. Somebody may come out and take you through breathing exercises, you know, get you to into a meditative state. You know, there might be some kind of strobe lights or something like that going on, and then somebody comes out and hypes you up. And so you get yourself basically into a state where you can be manipulated, you can be hypnotized, and then all somebody has to do is come out and give you the feelings that you want to have, and then you conflate those feelings with success. Because you're being told, if you think positively, you will accomplish what you want. You're being told, especially in the law of attraction, that if you have positive feelings, you will attract positive things to you. So you're already being told that, you know, let us manipulate you emotionally and manipulate your nervous system so that you can conflate the good feelings that we're going to be able to create in you with success. And then what ends up happening is you pay the money, because you think, as long as I have this good feeling, I'm going to leave this seminar or this cruise, and then I'm going to be able to become super rich. I'm going to be motivated. It might work for some people, but that's only if they actually have the ability to take continuous action and allow that feeling to create a fundamental change within them. So you got all that going on. Now you know what it's like. You're sitting there. We're not in a seminar. I don't do that to you. I don't manipulate you or take you through you know, deep breathing exercises and lasers to get you all manipulated. I'm much more interested in you being in your authentic self and then learning how to shift that. That's far more interesting to me than you know, trying to take you to a $10,000 cruise with Zohar the Magnificent, who supposedly channels the aliens, you know. And you know what I find interesting about I can't use the name. I used to use the person's name, and I used it once or twice and I got blocked. They complained and got me blocked on YouTube. So you'll have to try and figure out who I'm talking about. The most popular person who channels apparently a whole host of aliens that speak through this person, and they talk about the law of attraction. And what I find interesting is that these aliens who the life coach is channeling, the advice that the aliens give are, just really common sense things that anybody can come up with. But, if you come up with common sense things, or if I come up with common sense things, but if I say I'm channeling a whole host of aliens who are then saying these common sense things, all of a sudden now that's the most amazing thing. It's really obvious. What people are doing is that they are projecting their own self-devaluation. Because as long as it's coming from something that they think is superior to them, and these channelers, just by saying somebody is a channeler, they channel an alien. Just by channeling anything, you already put yourself in the position of the unconscious assumption is that you are superior to everybody that's in the audience, because they're not channeling, Zohar the Magnificent or the Zohar Collective. This person is standing up there channeling it. And it makes you wonder, well, why don't all of the Zohar Collective just simply talk to everybody? Why do they only talk through that one person? Because that doesn't sell. What sells is devaluing you. What you don't realize the majority of the time is that you are paying somebody to devalue you. And the reason why people have during, let's say, these law of attraction seminars or cruises, the reason why during those times people will feel all of this emotion and they'll feel spiritually empowered and they'll want to just shell out the money and it's like a religion for them, is because what they're doing is they're reliving their infantile worship of their parents. It's that powerful of a sensation. So in order to do that, you have to devalue people. And you devalue them not by calling them names. Some people get a rush out of that, but you don't stand up there and call them names. You talk to them the way a parent talks to a child. You talk down to them, which is exactly what happens the moment you walk into the law of attraction cruise or seminar with the man or the woman who's standing there channeling the council of aliens. You're already devalued the moment you walk in. And so what you don't realize is in that moment you are replaying an infantile worship of your parents. And as long as you are being devalued, you continue to have these loving feelings come up, which you project onto the parent figure, which is the channeler. Because as an infant, your parents are gods. They're not people. You see them as gods. So when whomever, Mr. or Mrs. whomever, show up and are channeling this, the council of aliens, you automatically feel devalued and you worship them and you're trying to get mommy and daddy's love. I'm leading up to something, so I want you to understand how this whole thing works. That is why being devalued sells. It's one of the reasons I don't have more followers than I do. It's because, as you know, I tell you guys the truth. I don't co-sign any of your nonsense. I don't let you kiss my ass and manipulate me that way and get me to like you because you kissed my ass. And at the same time, I don't coddle you or talk down to you. I give you the tools and I say, you go do it. And so it's not fun. It's not as fun as being devalued, as being infantilized. If I infantilized you and devalued you, there would be a lot more people that would want to come onto my channel. So, now, let's go back to the feeling I asked you to think about. I asked you to think about the feelings, the negative feelings that came up when I said, imagine yourself a month from now or 6 months from now and where you want to go. And, if you're thinking about your business or money, if you're making a life change, think of all the negative things that come up. The fears, the doubts, and then, of course, all the other things that go along with that. Let's say if it's about money, well, nobody wants that. I could do that all day. I mean, I could buy into that. Nobody wants what I have to say. Even what I just told you. I don't devalue anybody, so therefore nobody wants what I have to say. You have your own negative thing that's going to come up. And I'm here to tell you that is the feeling that you have about yourself and about your inability to accomplish what you want or get what you want is a role that you play. It's a role that you play in order to get accepted, in order to get loved. So what people don't realize is that and I'm going to lump everybody, all of the unsuccessful people in the world, in whatever way possible. This includes my own brother. To the best of my knowledge, last I heard, he was homeless. I know my brother. I grew up with him. So I know for a fact that there's no reason he should be homeless. No reason whatsoever. And I also know that no matter how many times things could have changed by, again, I haven't seen him in years, so if he's still alive, things could have changed. But best I know, last time I saw him and heard about him, he had opportunities. He could have been making money from the government because he could have qualified for a disability. He had access to programs that would have given him a place to live and be able to get him back on his feet and get him in society. And he couldn't follow the simple rules. He refused to do it. So the bottom line is he refused to do the work to get himself off the street. And I know why. It's because growing up with him, I know what he grew up with. He grew up with the same family I did. And the message that my family gave me, and we're talking about everybody in my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, he was an older brother. The message that they all gave me was, you can't be special. Don't be successful. Don't gain attention for what you do, and don't be exceptional. You have to be smart. I definitely got that feeling. I had to be smart, but you can't be successful. And so what ended up happening is that in my adulthood, I was smart. I went to college and I did well in college. And then I went off and did my own things. And I just couldn't seem to get past the block. The block was always there, and I couldn't seem to get past it. Looking back on it, I realized that I sabotaged a lot of opportunities. I had opportunities that I walked away from or didn't invest in, or things like that. Of course, at the time, I didn't know that. There were just all these blocks, and I couldn't get past them. Well, 60 years later, or 40 years later now, I have a lot of hindsight, and I've done a lot of work. So I know that what I didn't realize was that even on a conscious level, I thought I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be prosperous. I wanted to be successful on a conscious level. What I didn't realize was that my unconscious programming had set me up to play the role of the smart but unsuccessful person. That was the role that my parents told me I had to play if I wanted to be loved by them. Of course, they would never verbally say that. They weren't consciously thinking that. This was the unconscious message. So now let's take everything that I've just said and let's link it up to what we've been talking about, what my ET friends have been telling me about different dimensions. And if you remember just what it's like in the fifth dimension, again, please do me a favor and drop all of the New Age nonsense. You hear people talking about living in 5D. You hear people talking about different densities. Please do me a favor and just throw all that garbage away. That's all a bunch of New Age nonsense and projection. If we're talking about physics here and dimensions when it comes to science and physics, and believe it or not, the ETs actually are quite adept at science and physics. But once you get to the fifth dimension, if you are able to live in the fifth dimension, you have access to all of the probable realities. You have access to all of them. So your life in 3D, because you are in 3D, you only get to live one probability at a time. And it's what it is. It's a probability. And so if you are operating from the unconscious message, like I was in my 20s, that I had to be smart, people had to know that I had talent and ability. People used to say that. I used to get that from casting directors all the time. I'd audition for them. They'd say, "Why haven't I seen you before? I mean, why aren't you more successful?" And I would say, "I don't know." Well, it's because what I was doing is I was playing the role on an emotional, my intentions. I was intending my reality based on the role that I was supposed to play, which was the smart, talented, but unsuccessful person. Because if I wanted my dad's approval, I had to be that. Because my dad, even though he was extremely successful in his line of work, he was extremely intimidated if I showed any kind of potential. Any kind of real potential, he would get intimidated. My brother would get outright, he would panic because he was my older brother. He would absolutely panic if I showed any kind of potential or if I got any kind of positive attention. It would just absolutely make his mind blow up, and I'd get abused like crazy from him as a result of that. So just in order to survive that childhood, I had to be, what I've already told you. So I ended up living that. But it was a role that I was playing. And so this is what you do as an actor, in order to convince yourself of the role, you keep telling yourself all kinds of truths, supposed truths about reality. Well, this doesn't ever work, and these people never make it, and those people this, and the universe is that, and the world is unfair. And you have all of these definitions that keep you trapped in playing that role that you play. So in 3D, we can only live one probability manifestation at any time. But if you were to imagine yourself going into the fifth dimension, now you're sitting there in the fifth dimension, you've risen above the third dimension, and you have the ability, I'll just give you, an idea. I have no idea what it's really like, but we'll pretend this is what it's like, just for argument's sake. Imagine you're in a room filled with television screens. The Matrix, they had that. The Architect, that's a great example. The Architect filled with television screens. And if he's sitting there talking to Neo, and there's all these different Neos on there having different responses. Remember that part of the movie? If you don't, then just imagine it. You're sitting there in a room surrounded by television screens, and each television screen has a different timeline playing out in real time right in front of you. And if you're in the fifth dimension, what you have the ability to do is literally live every single one of those probabilities that are happening. And you can do it with 100% focus. So in 3D, we can't do that. If you have 20 screens in front of you, you can't be fully engrossed in every single movie on every single screen. You can't do it. You can only be involved in one at a time, and you have to tune the rest out. Or if you're trying to look at all of them, you're only getting, a little bits and pieces of all of them. But imagine being in a room with 100 television screens with a bunch of different movies playing, and you have the ability to be fully engrossed in each one of them simultaneously. That's what it's like to be in the fifth dimension. So in the fifth dimension, you can take any one of those screens and manifest it into 3D. You could manifest, you like that particular movie the best, you can take that one and just intend it, and it will manifest in 3D as a timeline. And then you can, if you choose to, vibrate down to 3D and live that timeline. So, this is what we are doing in 3D all the time. But we can only focus on one probable timeline at any given moment. We can't focus on more than that. And each moment is a different timeline that we focused on that is lining up like a slideshow or like a loaf of bread, right? We think it's just one loaf of bread, but it's got a bunch of slices in it. And each slice gets manifested, and we think it's one giant loaf of bread or one timeline. So, the feeling that you have, go back to the feeling that I told you about to think about, the feeling that you have of why you can't do something. The fear that you have, the doubt, the insecurity. If you have negative self-talk, I can't ever do that. Here, a big one is I'm not worthy. That's, again, that comes but from childhood. You had to learn to be less than what you were in order to be loved and accepted. The society is like that. Forgive me for waxing philosophical, but when I was an actor, I remember going to acting seminars, and I remember going to seminars for getting jobs in commercials. And so we would do different things, and I remember I had like this stick of gum. I was doing a gum commercial, and I had to smile. And people said, "Why do you look so angry?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, take a look at yourself." And there was a picture of me going, I just did not have the face to sell a pack of gum. I would never get hired as somebody who sells gum on a commercial. And what I learned about that is that people who, and you watch this, don't believe me, watch commercials. What's a good example? There's a Toyota commercial that comes around, I think, it's got an attractive woman, and she's, her character is like she, works there. I don't know what it is. But if you take a look at that, I don't know that woman personally, so I don't know anything about her, but I know the way she comes off. The way she comes off is she's just attractive enough. She's not too attractive. Like, you don't look at her and go, "Oh my God." You don't like just get consumed with lust over her. She's just attractive enough for you to look at her and find her pleasing to look at. And she's not threatening. So she doesn't come off, she comes off very personable. She doesn't really have a personality. She comes across as a customer service representative, the kind that you would like. Somebody that doesn't give off a whole lot of their own personality. They're just pleasant and they don't intimidate you in any way. They just make you feel sort of comfortable. And I realized that's what sells. What sells is people wanting to come home after a long day of work and crack open a beer and turn on the TV and have somebody just sort of make them feel okay. Don't give them too much to feel. Well, that wasn't my thing. As an actor, I would go, and my job, in my mind, was to get you as an audience member to feel as much as possible, because my goal was I wanted you to go home and become a better person because you now had deeper, more intense feelings than you did. So I didn't realize that every time I would go and audition for something, people would think I was amazing, but I wouldn't get hired. Part of the reason was because, movies, television are really just vehicles for what? For commercials. Commercials pay for television. So the television that gets put on cables or whatever is going to be attractive to the advertisers. And so the advertisers don't want shows that are going to make people have a lot of feelings, because then they're going to change their life. They're going to improve themselves. No, they want you to just be calm and comfortable and drink the beer and consume whatever it is they're advertising. So reality is doing that to you. 3D society is doing that to you. And so you are being devalued all the time by society. Society is always seeking to just make everybody into a zombie. Give you enough feel good, this is why, again, drugs were outlawed, but alcohol never was. Why? Because alcohol is just the perfect, if you don't want somebody to get up off their ass and make their life better, just, give them a steady stream of alcohol to drink every day. Come home after working in some crappy job for 8 hours a day, hating your life. The easiest thing to do is just pour yourself a drink, or, it just puts you in that state where you're going to be angry about how things are, but you're not going to do a damn thing about it. And nowadays, smoking weed. You're going to come home and smoke some weed. You're not going to do anything about your life. You're going to complain about it. But you've now just been, given enough of that chemical to make you just sort of kind of okay. But that is a role that you're playing. And it's the same role that happens when people go to these seminars where they want to learn how to master the law of attraction. And in these law of attraction seminars, you are being devalued from the moment you walk in. You are being put into a suggestible state, and then, as I said earlier, you're being stimulated to worship whoever the channel is. And the feeling that you get, because you are now in an infantilized state where you feel like mommy or daddy is loving you, and you feel positive. But it's got nothing to do with manifesting your reality. Nothing. It's about feeling loved. So there's a good chance, in order for you to switch to another probability, remember, you're in the room filled with television screens, right? And you have all these different probabilities you can choose from. If you choose the probability that actually will reflect your highest self, your most powerful, most authentic, soul-centered self, you very likely will run the risk of not being accepted by society at large. At the very least, you will have that feeling. You will have that feeling that if I do this, people aren't going to love me. Which is why the first thing people say when they really start to get honest about becoming successful, the first thing that they say is, I don't feel worthy. And same thing happens with people who do CE5, and they connect with higher dimensional beings, myself included. That was the first reaction I had, was I had a tremendous feeling of unworthiness. And that unworthiness is actually the feeling that comes from, oh my God, if I rebel against being mediocre, then mommy and daddy won't love me. And so that's why fear sells. This is why people love politics. And politics have never changed. Has it ever changed? Has there ever been a time when people haven't gone to every time a politician comes up, what's the first thing they do is they start bad mouthing the other person, and you go, yeah, we need to get rid of that person. So and so will fix the government, and so never does. Because fear keeps you in that state of, it's your projection. Your anger and your fear is your projection of, if I don't stay mediocre, mommy and daddy won't love me. So it's a role that you play. So if you're living out a life right now that you don't like, you're poor, you're sick, you're lonely, pick your negativity. It is a role that you've played. It's a role that you're playing because on an unconscious level, you believe if you play that role, you'll be accepted. You believe if you stay angry. You believe that if you complain. You believe if that you stay hopeless, which a lot of people conflate with spirituality too. If you do all of that on an unconscious level, you think you're going to be loved. Physically, you feel angry, you feel scared, you feel upset. But on an unconscious level, you feel safe. So, what I'd like for you to do, understanding that, knowing that I would like for you to now think about your life, all the specifics of your life, where you live, how you feel about where you live, your job situation, your money situation. I'd like for you to now, the actual probability you are living, and I want you to be aware of all of the things in it and the way that it makes you feel, especially if you're not happy with it. If you are happy with it, there'd be no reason for you to watch this video. Go off and enjoy your higher probability life, by all means. But if you're not happy with your life, think about all that stuff. All the things that aren't good enough, that you wish were different. Now what I'd like for you to do is imagine the world that you live in, the earth that you live in, everything around you. Now expand out from your personal life. Now the political situation, the politics of the government that you live around, your family situation, your school situation, your job situation, all of the people in those externals. I want you to bring all of that. This is your actual physical reality. But it is only one probability that you have manifested based on the role you have chosen to play. And now I want you to go out even further and imagine that entire universe that you live in is now just a ball. It's like a crystal ball, and you can look into it and you can see that reality playing itself out. Or a television screen. It's a television screen, and you can look in it and you can see that reality. I want you to go and now pull back and see yourself in that reality, on that TV screen, walking around, complaining about this, complaining about that, crying about this, wanting that, whatever it is that your blocks are, and step back and go, that is a television show that's happening. I'm watching a television show, and there's a person in there that looks like me that's playing this role of the unhappy, unsuccessful, unhealthy, whatever it is. And then I want you to pull back even further, and now See yourself filled in a room with a bunch of other television screens. And I want you to go to the television screen that has the version of you that you want to be. The one where you're healthy, you're happy, you're prosperous, you're loved, you live, you have a nice place to live, you live somewhere if it's a completely different part of the world, I'm going to get on a plane and go to a different part of the world. It's a different part of the world. Imagine that and see that on a television screen. See yourself in the way you'd like to be. Maybe you'd like to have a more healthy, athletic body. I don't know. Imagine whatever that is. And see that on a television screen outside of you. And now that you've found that, you can see that, in my mind, it's over here up on the right. And then I'm going to look down here on the left. That's where I just came from. And look at the difference between the two. And you have the option to pick which one of those probabilities that are playing out right now. You have an option to pick one. Whichever one you want. Understand that if you pick the one that has you doing what you want, it means that you're choosing to stop playing the role you've been playing this whole time. The role of, whatever negativity there is. In my case, it would have been the smart, full of promise, a person who can't really, just mediocre. Mediocre success, but really smart and talented, but mediocre. That's down there. I can see that. He's very frustrated. This guy up here, as I look, he's quite happy. He's quite comfortable. He's quite free. He's quite happy. None of those things are bothering him. So now what I do is instead of looking at that television screen, I go into it. I go into that television screen and then I merge with that guy. He's sitting there, and under the eucalyptus trees on the beach, looking at the beach, petting his dog. And then I just simply walk into his body. And then I look through his eyes at the world and I become him. And what will happen if you do that is that reality will then start to become the reality that you manifest on a daily basis. But you're going to have to accept that role. So for me, that guy isn't somebody full of promise who can't accomplish anything. This guy does whatever the heck he wants, whenever the heck he wants to do it. He has everything he needs, everything he wants. And he feels joyful, he feels happy, he feels free, and he's connected. There's a bunch of other things that are personal I'm not going to share with you that I see within him. And I just simply walk into his body and then just start seeing things through his eyes. All right, so that's the intellectual mind game I want you to play. Now I'm going to teach you a meditation to do that. So, if you are somebody who has done CE5 before, I want you to feel free to seek the help of your ET higher dimensional friends, because they love to be a part of these kinds of meditations. And again, now I want you to understand the army of higher dimensional beings that are waiting to help you accomplish what I just talked to you about. Remember what I said about being in the fifth dimension. In the fifth dimension, you can see every probable reality in front of you. Every probable timeline in front of you, positive and negative. You can see it happening all the time. You're not attached to any of them. If you want to go dive into one and experience it, you can. You can go and live any reality you want. And you already are in this space of not being attached to anything. You know, you don't have any fear. All of those things that we have in 3D, you don't have that in 5D. So you have relatives, you have friends, you have family, you have people that you've known for thousands of lifetimes who can see all of the different probable realities for you in 3D. They can see the reality where you are the happiest. They can see it like it's right in front of them. And they can see you where you are in the current probability you have, however upset you are, however limited you are. And what they want for you is they want you to be in the one they can see playing out in front of them over here. They can see you free and happy, and they want this, the one where you are. They want to help you get from there to there. But they can't do it. You have to do it. But they will be more than happy to assist you in whatever way you want. They will be more than happy to assist you with higher dimensional energy. If that's what you need to be able to make the shift, they will be more than happy to help you with that. But you have to choose that. And you must choose to understand that you are letting go of the role that you've been playing in a infantile attempt to get your 3D parents or your 3D society to love and accept you. You have to drop that. You have to be willing to not be loved and accepted by them, and instead be loved and accepted by your own soul. And you have to choose. You have to choose between your soul or other people's love and approval. The good news is if you choose your own soul, you will gain the love and approval you already have from all of the conscious beings who love you exactly the way you are. You'll now be able to see and experience them because you will have walked out of that television screen, and now you'll be able to experience all the other people, other 3D people right next to you who don't notice you because you're so miserable. You're not in their line of sight. When you become happy and prosperous, they go, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so. And all of a sudden you have a whole new community of friends who love you because you are being authentic and prosperous. Whereas the world you've been in you've been getting approval from people that want to keep you where they are, which is like my brother and my dad got intimidated whenever I had any success. So in order to keep them happy, I would stay mediocre. So you have to be willing to drop all of that. You know, people aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of success. Success is far more frightening than failure because success means the people that are on a lower vibration are going to reject you. You'll be walking away from them. You will no longer be co-signing their victimhood. And they will get upset and they will feel rejected and they will reject you. All right. So, let me walk you through this meditation. So what we're going to do is we'll try and do it here, and then I'll come back and we'll see what happens. But we'll try and do it here. So what I'd like for you to do is get into a comfortable position, whatever position you'd like to be in, sitting in your chair, lying down, or whatever. And what I want you to imagine is the 9 directions in front of you. I don't need you to think about north, south, east, or west. It doesn't matter. Just, the 9 directions starting from you and expanding out. And so what you're going to do is you're going to, first you're going to take a deep breath in and hold it. Breathe in. Hold it. Exhale. Take another deep breath in and hold it. Exhale. Another deep breath in and hold it. Exhale. Okay, now in your meditative state, imagine the 8 directions. You're now going to inhale and pull energy from directly in front of you into your body. Inhale. Exhale. If you are facing north, imagine now you're going to move clockwise to the northeast. You're going to take energy from there. Inhale. Exhale. On your right side, directly straight across, which would be east if you were facing north, inhale. Exhale. Focusing on the southeast, inhale. Exhale. Focusing directly behind you, which would be the south, bring energy from there with your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Focusing on the southwest, inhale. And exhale. Directly across your left side, if you're facing north, would be west. Inhale. And exhale. Focusing on what would be the northwest if you were facing north. Inhale. Exhale. Now, one last breath, bringing energy from all of the 8 directions into the center. Inhale. Hold it. And exhale. Keep your eyes closed. Stay in your body. Continue to breathe long and deep. Imagine that you are radiating energy throughout all of those 8 directions out of you like you are a crystal. And light is shining in all of those 8 directions. And in the center of that crystal is a very bright light. And that bright light is you, is your highest spiritual essence. Okay, now what I'd like for you to do is just, in your mind's eye, you don't have to do this perfectly, but in your mind's eye, I'd like for you to imagine the room that you're in, the chair that you're sitting in, be able to see the room that you're in with your eyes closed. What you're going to do now is you're going to imagine that you are going to step out of your physical body. Your body's going to stay in the chair or on the bed or wherever it is, and you are going to float out of it. And turn around and look at yourself. See yourself where you are in the chair. See everything that you can, what you're wearing. It's okay if you can't see it, just do your best. Don't overthink it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start to pull away from your body. You're going to start to drift up to the ceiling. Now look down at yourself from the ceiling. And now allow yourself to float through the roof. You're now above your house or your apartment building, and you can see through the ceiling and the walls, and you can still see your body exactly where you left it. And you're going to keep allowing yourself to be pulled further and further away. You're going to go higher and higher in the sky until you see your house way down there. And then you pull out even further and you see the land surrounding where your house is. You pull out even further, and now you are at the Earth's edge of the Earth's atmosphere, and you can see the Earth, and you can see the landmass, the continent that your home and your country is in. And now you're going to let yourself be pulled out through the Earth's atmosphere, and now you are in space. And you are now free of 3D space-time. Your physical body is still down on the Earth, but your consciousness is now free of 3D space-time. I'd like for you to just sort of look around. Look around, see all the stars, whatever planets are around you, and just feel yourself outside of 3D space-time. What I'd like for you to do now is look off in the distance. And if you look off in the distance, you will see a horizon. And in the middle of that horizon, you're going to see like a bright light is leaking out or seeping out through the horizon. You are now going to focus on that light and let that light pull you to it. Be pulled into that light. And before you know it, you are now pulled out of the 3D universe itself, and you are in a space of total, complete light. In the center, there's a shaft of light that is coming from the bottom, going all the way up, as far as you can see up, and as far as you can see down. And you are in a space of pure light. Now what you're going to do is you're going to construct a little bubble around yourself. And as you sit in that bubble you've just constructed around yourself, you're going to allow different television screens to pop up in front of you. You're going to look and see on the television screen, one of them, your physical body that you've just left behind, sitting in a chair or lying on the bed. And then you're going to address your attention up to the right and up. And there you're going to look and you're going to see another television screen, and it's going to be you in your perfect reality. Imagine yourself in that. Now that you have the awareness of two of these screens, I'd like for you to send out the mental request for any light beings who love you to come and help you in this meditation. And let any light beings come to you and interact with you. It doesn't matter what you experience, you see them, you don't see them, you feel them. You've just sent out the request, which is enough. And now you're going to ask them, will you please make my preferred probability state become more real to me as I look at it? And allow yourself to feel the power of that preferred state of being that you're looking at through that television screen. And now you're going to ask for help from your friends. You want to have the power to go into that reality. Allow yourself to be pulled into that television screen. See that perfect part of yourself living the life you want to live, and simply take your consciousness and merge into that body of yours. And now look through the eyes of that aspect of yourself living that perfect reality. Now what I'd like for you to do to explore that, whatever's around you, wherever you are. Get an idea, really feel it. Imagine yourself there. And what you're going to do now is you're going to bring that back to where you are now. You're going to say thank you to your light being friends. You're going to ask them to help you whenever you need it. You're now going to allow yourself to come out of that place of light. You find yourself back in space. You can see all the stars and the planets, and you turn and you see planet Earth. You begin to move towards planet Earth, back to where your physical body is. You now enter back into Earth's atmosphere. You're now back into 3D space-time. You're going to now float down to where your home is. You're going to go through the wall or the roof. You can still see your body in the exact place where you left it. And you're just going to simply let your consciousness go back into your physical body. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Exhale. Take another deep breath in and hold it. Exhale. Take another deep breath in and hold it. Exhale. And now open your eyes. Okay. So you can go back to that place anytime. You can, this protocol I'm sharing with you, I don't know what it does for you. I know that for me, something very physical happens to me when I do it. When and here's the thing about astral travel. People try and get it perfect. In fact, people take drugs so that they can convince themselves of a vision that they have which feels more real than reality. But the point is, it doesn't have to be that. It's just your intent. You just have to intend to leave your body. That's it. I mean, I talked you through all that. I didn't see any of that. I didn't have perfect vision. If you saw it, you're ahead of the game. I didn't see any of it. I just imagined it. I knew how to imagine it and talk myself through it. But it doesn't mean that I saw it perfectly. But I had the intent. And that's all that matters. So just your intention, when you close your eyes and meditate and you intend to pull your consciousness out of 3D space-time, you've done it. And when you imagine yourself in a space, wherever it is, where you can see different probable realities playing themselves out, you just simply let the perfect one manifest for you on a screen, in a crystal ball. There's a reason why people use crystal balls. That stuff works if you've got the intention. And then you can go back into that perfect reality whenever you want. You can walk into the skin, walk into the body of that version of yourself. Look through that person's eyes. Feel that person's body. See all the things, experience all the things. And when you bring yourself back into 3D, you will bring that with you. Now, what you're going to have to do is two things. Main thing is you're going to drop the role you've been playing. Whenever that you hear yourself say, you're not worthy, women don't like people like me, or all men are the same, or reality, society this, or the government that. That is a role. That's a character you've been playing in order to be accepted. And whenever you hear that, you're going to drop it. You're going to go, I'm not going to indulge in that. And you're going to then imagine what the thought process is and what the self-talk is of that person that lives in that perfect reality. Now, the one where I come from, if I told you the self-talk that came through him, you would think that I was the most egotistical person in the world. Maybe you already think that. But the reality that guy lives in, there's zero negativity he deals with. And he's the king of his universe. Literally, he's the king of his universe. And so if I continue to play that role, it's a role. It doesn't mean a false pretending. It doesn't mean lying. That's what narcissists do. They pretend to be something they're not. They know they're not, but they pretend to be more than they are. No, this is just you allow yourself to have that feeling. And you allow yourself to have that self-talk, and then you take the actions that that person would take. The combination of the intent with the playing of that role, accepting of that role of your authentic self, combined with the actions, that is what, like if you've got a roulette wheel, that's what shifts the roulette wheel around so that the reality you want ends up manifesting right in front of you. You have to shift it around. All right, so I hope that made sense to you. I'm happy to keep working on how to make these meditations easier, but you play around with it. You don't have this isn't a religion. You don't have to do it exactly the way I did it. The only thing that I think that matters for me is that I have to have the intention to leave my physical body and leave 3D space-time, to go into that fifth dimensional place, because the fifth dimension is a place of pure light, in case you didn't know. I go to that fifth dimensional place of light, and then I imagine myself being able to see all of the different probabilities, and I pick the one that my soul really screams for, and it'll manifest for me. Like I'll see it. And then I go and I walk into it, I become that person, I bring myself back, and each time I do that, I have shifted the roulette wheel a little bit more so that the slice of reality that I create changes. And what ends up happening, an interesting thing will happen, is that when you start to upgrade yourself, everybody around you starts to upgrade. So the people in your life all of a sudden get better. The circumstances all of a sudden get better. The world literally starts getting better. Everything about it starts to get better. And if we keep doing this, guess what's going to come? The solar flash will come as a result of us choosing to move that roulette wheel around. If you want to imagine the solar flash, like if you want to leave your body, go to the fifth dimension and look at a screen where the solar wave is coming and bringing love, you can walk into that as many times as you want, and guaranteed it'll come. So we create this entire universe. Remember, you have a ninth dimensional self who is a God creating this universe. And as long as you accept that, it'll happen, but you've got to drop the role that you're playing. All right, I've babbled long enough. I'm repeating myself. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Let me get rid of some spam here. All right. She's Got Spirit Lounge says hello. That is grace.thunderwizard.com. She is one of my rune readers. She's also a very powerful distance healer. I got a healing from her myself, so I know for a fact that she's powerful. Buddy Kane Helm, I got your email, and I'm, just as a friend, what the hell made you wait 2.5 weeks? I mean, you paid good money for that link. Why didn't you, I say, give me 24 to 48 hours to respond to your email. You waited 2.5 weeks. I responded to you on the video. So you sent me a PayPal. I got a PayPal email with the payment. So first, and everybody needs to do this because you're not the first person. The first thing you need to do is go and check your spam, because sometimes links will go into your spam folder. And I sent it to you October 31st, the day that you bought it. Second thing, make sure that your PayPal email is up to date, because a lot of people have PayPal, but the email that they have associated with it is out of date. So the stuff I'm sending is going to an older email that's associated or linked to your PayPal account. So make sure that they're lined up. So you're asking me, where do I find the link? I emailed it to you. The day that you bought it, I emailed it to you. I'm sorry if I'm giving you such a hard time. It's so frustrating to me because it's just such an unnecessary thing, especially the fact that you waited 2.5 weeks. You didn't email me personally anyway. So I can't put the link on it here for you. I can't put it on the YouTube thing because then everybody will have it. So you either have to email me personally, but I'm quite certain it's probably in your spam folder or it's in another email. If you give me a valid email address, I'll be happy to send it to you. You say it's been more than 48 hours. It's been 2.5 weeks. What the hell, man? After 48 hours, I would have been just like, where the hell's I would have been like knocking on your door. I don't know why you waited so long. Anyway, now you know. So hopefully you'll find it in your spam folder. If not, you have to email me directly, and I'll be happy to give you the link. That's it. We don't have any questions. So I took you through all that. How many people are watching? There's 26 people. I literally taught you how to change reality. There's only 26 people watching, and there's no questions. Okay, so I guess we're done. All right, so I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll continue to talk more about this kind of stuff. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves. And I will see you guys all very soon. Take care.